Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome to Gratitude Happy Hour here at Enlightened World Network. I'm Teri Angel, your host, and so happy to be here with you. I'm so grateful for this platform that we have to come live and to share some light out into the world. I love doing this show. It's been a baby of mine for a few years now, and it has grown and evolved. And now we deal more with what can we do to bring more gratitude to each other and more smiles to each other. That's my little dig there to introduce my co-host today. Andrea Adams-Miller is with me from the Keep Smiling movement. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here, Terry. This is really fun. Ken, our co-founder, was on last night, and
Yeah.
for your Angel Heart Radio, and what a
Mhm.
beautiful show that was. And I'm so
Thank
excited to be
you.
able to be here to show gratitude for just the wonderful things that are happening in the world.
Yes, absolutely. You know that the project that you all have going with the Keep Smiling movement. Oh my gosh, I'm in that group that you all built. What was it, a week ago? Something like that?
It was I think it's almost 2 weeks now, and yeah, Ken had he said, "Hey, let's do this," and he and I started inviting all of our connections, and we actually were so vigorous in inviting people to join into the world of love and acceptance that we were blocked. So we were put in Facebook
No.
jail for being too loving. So there you go.
That has happened to me. I've been in Facebook jail, okay? Guilty. I spread too much love.
Yeah, so we had a big giggle about we're like, I think Facebook doesn't like joy. What's going on here?
I know, I know. It's like, do we need to go the other way and spread more of the separation stuff? No. Oh, Andrea, I met you, oh my gosh, 4 years ago, I think, in
I
Utah.
think it was. Yeah.
And I just loved your bubbly personality, your effervescence, and just the way you brighten up a room. So when I
Oh,
reached out to Ken and said, I really want to have you all on one of my talk shows. I want the people to know who you are because I just love the whole project, all of this keep smiling, everything about it. And you were the one that responded to me. Thank goodness, right?
yes, yes. Yeah, I'm Ken's publicist, and I'm also the executive director for the Keep Smiling movement. And I own my own company, the Red Carpet Connection. So I'm an
Yes.
international publicist and business consultant. And so I volunteer my full-time position as executive director. So that's my way of giving back to the world and creating smiles and doing this. So yeah, I manage Ken's calendar and make sure, to get him booked on things and make sure that he's where he needs to be. And I also am his backup photographer. So when we go to events all over the world to take pictures of people, I also have a camera on hand, but mine's red.
I thought I remembered you with a camera when I met you, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
So, yeah, so what attracted you to this project to keep smiling? What does that mean to you?
Well, it started, I had met Ken on an internet marketers cruise in January of 2015. And when we got off the cruise, Terry, we kept running into each other. So we'd never met each other before. And every event I went to, Ken was in my space. And so there's pictures, the beginning pictures of us meeting, like we're laughing and being silly on camera, like he is with so many people. And
Yeah.
I already liked who he was and who he stood for. And then shortly thereafter, he met Barry Shore, and Ken approached me and said, "Hey, I'm passing out these keep smiling cards, and I'm taking pictures of people all over the world with them, and we have them in multiple languages. You
I
know."
know.
He said, "I have this book that I created with a friend of mine, Emily Latran. She was the first adopter of the book." He said, I created a book, but I kind of don't know what to do with it. Can you help me?" And I said, this is a beautiful idea. And
Yeah.
Terry, for me, smiles are really important for two reasons. One, that my aunt, she's only 3 years older than me. And when we were growing up, she had a bit of a crowded mouth. Her teeth were a little crowded. But to me, they were perfectly imperfect. I thought her smile was beautiful. But she would go and smile like that, and it bothered me, and it would make me cry, that she was ashamed of her mouth, and I
Yeah.
always knew that someday I would grow up and have something to do with dental health and helping people restore their smiles,
Mhm.
and because that was
Yeah.
important to me. And then
Yeah.
when before I met Ken, the summer before I met Ken, uh, my mom had a breast cancer diagnosis in the morning, a second one, and in the afternoon, my daughter, oldest daughter, was in a tragic horse accident where the horse fell on her and broke her leg. And she was either, they said, oh, she might die, she might lose her leg, she might never walk again. And both my mom and my daughter persevered through everything by being really positive and staying
Mhm.
happy and smiling. And so when Ken approached me with the idea of, the keep smiling movement, it was a no-brainer that that's what my heart was set to do. I was really looking
Oh, yeah.
for something to be a part of and something to love, and so I adopted it. I consider the Keep Smiling movement my baby, and I'm mama to it.
There you go. And what a great job. I mean, the outreach is just amazing that's happening. People are responding. And is that positivity? It's like, this is one thing I can do, right? I mean, we all have choices in how we're going to be, how we're going to feel, how we're going to respond to things. We can make a choice to smile, and it is a choice.
Oh,
Yeah.
every day it is a choice. I'll be
Mhm.
authentic and honest that this morning I had something presented in front of me that took away my smile. And with just a few moments of, allowing it to be there and having these all over the place around me and keep smiling books all I have stack of them around me all the
Right.
time, that you kind of can't help but think positive and realize that this is just for a moment and this will pass, and then having
Mhm.
really great support systems. So I know
Yeah.
that I can jump on the Keep Smiling ambassador page or reach out to any of our Keep Smiling authors as peers,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are my clients as well, and reach out to them and feel love and gratitude that I can shift that around quickly and know that everything's going to be okay.
That is so awesome. I just love that you shared that because, I'm known as Gratitude Girl. That's my name on Instagram, on Twitter. And there are moments when I'm like, okay, I really got to search here for something to be grateful for. But when we do that, just like what you were saying, when we decide, and it is a decision, okay, I'm going to find something that's going to be uplifting. One thing. Once we find one thing, Andrea, it's like everything else just opens up, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And, I used to teach college at two different colleges in eight different departments. And all of my students, no matter whether they were a criminal justice student or a social worker student or a psychology or a business student, I would have them make, from our, like one, our first or second class, I would always have them write a set of instructions for themselves so that no matter what happened for that class, what was their backup plan. And so that included things like, if you have to have a paper printed and you don't have ink, where can you get your paper printed within an hour? So they had,
Right.
several different solutions. And along that list of things that you need to have is, what's your backup plan if something has taken away your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-love, that has interfered with that and blocked
Yeah.
that? What did you have to make you happy again? And like, so for me, um I think of my grandchildren. I just was with them in the swimming pool. They're
Yeah.
1-year-old Warren and 4-year-old Mavis. And, and here they are, catch me,
Oh.
and that just lights you up. And then my three daughters, and then like sunsets. We have, my husband built on a beautiful a back room when we moved into our home. And so this time of year, actually, I wonder if I could show you. I took
Oh,
this
that would be
gorgeous
awesome.
picture last night of and in fact, Ken teased me. I showed it. I sent him one of the pictures, and he was like, he teased me, and he said, "I think that's fake." um,
That sounds like him.
yeah, it was so fun. And I see if I can blow it up. Well, you can kind of see it there. So
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
sunset out
Yes.
my window. So there's three windows, and
Wow.
that's what I see is this beautiful sky every night, and that beauty and that joy of knowing that
Yeah.
that room was built with the windows specifically for me. And then, of course, it's a keep smiling movement. I mean, I,
Yeah.
I I'm in love with this. In love with this project, and
Yeah.
it is I it is a no matter what, this is happening. So we've had crazy
Yeah.
obstacles coming our way. And it's funny, like you
Mhm.
think, really, what would give you an obstacle to joy,
Yeah.
love, and acceptance and
Yeah.
smiles? And they come up. And
Mhm.
yet Ken and I persevere no matter what. It's been unbelievable what we've overcome to continue doing this. I'm really proud of it.
Wow. Yeah. I just want to ask you because I give out gratitude cards. So, kind of along the same line of wanting to uplift people, my cards say, I'm grateful for you. Who are you
Thank
grateful
you.
for?
Love
And
it.
so I give these out wherever I go. Like I give them to a lot of cashiers, or if I see somebody that looks like they could use a smile, I just go up and hand them one. You know, it's like I don't want to rob you. I just want to hand you a gratitude card.
I'm giving. I'm giving.
I know, right?
Yes, yes. And
But
now
the
you have to go, I don't have COVID. It's germ free.
oh, I know, right? I wiped it down first. But the responses from people when I give them this card, it's like first they look at you like, "What are you selling, lady?" Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they read the card, and then their whole demeanor changes. It changes everything because gratitude, love, that changes everything. So I just want to hear some of the experience of you giving out these cards and what that's been like for you.
Sure. But first of all, I feel inclined to go, love changes everything. I
Yes,
don't even know why I know that
it
song, but that's a song from something. I don't know if it's from
does.
the
From
radio or a
something.
play I was in.
I know.
Um, I do a lot of theater, or used to do a lot of theater before I
Yeah.
started being a international speaker and traveling so much. So I've been in over 60 productions, so it's probably from some musical.
It's from something somewhere.
So somebody who knows that, write that down in the comments and notes to
Yeah,
remind
there you
me so I can
go.
go look it up. Yeah, that would be great. Because it certainly is fun. All right, so stories of passing out these cards. Oh wow. Okay, I've got to me this is the best two, and they're because of each other. Um,
Okay.
so I had just come home from Egypt right before the Keep Smiling, or excuse me, not before Keep Smiling, right before COVID locked down us from
Right.
traveling. I
Yeah.
actually got an award I was super proud of, Iconic Woman, Changing the World for
Oh,
All. And
awesome.
yeah, and it was because of the work that I did for the Keep Smiling
Yeah.
movement. So I
Right.
had flown over there to get the award, and I had come home, and the woman who was taking us from the airport to our van or to our vehicles in this van was having somewhat of a bad day. We'll just say that. And she was slamming around things and just like really acting out and being just real negative. And right away I thought about like, oh, what can I do for this woman to make her day better? And just then she just about T-boned another van, and we all
Oh,
went like,
my.
slid across the seats. And she
Yeah.
never even said, "Are you okay?" or anything. And yet our bags went flying and nothing. So we're like, wow, okay, here. And we're all looking at each other like, this is an interesting trip. So we
Yeah.
finally get to my car, and she gets out, she slams my stuff around, my bags into a muddy snow puddle, and then is standing there. And I climb down and I hand her a card like this. And I said, this is for you. And she looks at it and goes, and I said, I'm giving you this card because I care, and it appears that you're having a little tiny bit of a bad day.
Mhm.
She's like, yeah. So then I said, well, I have this for you too. And I give her a second keep smiling card. And I said, I'm giving you the second card because often when our smile has turned upside down, it's because someone else in our life has also stopped smiling. So maybe
Yeah.
you could give them this card and let them know that you miss their smile and could you somehow come to an empath,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And she starts crying and then admits to me that she was going to go home and take her life that night. So I thank her for telling me that, and I offer to,
Yeah.
sit with her, go somewhere with her, and I had a $10 bill in my hand as well because I had already made the decision prior that I was going to tip her well to give her a reason to have a better day instead
Yeah.
of punishing her for her negativity. And I then after she said, I think I'm going to be okay, I gave her the 10 and said, could you call your boss, try to get yourself a break or something, go somewhere and just
Yeah.
sit alone for a moment. And I offered to give her my number and have her call me. And she's like, no, I really am okay. I'm okay. I wouldn't do that now. And so I left her. And the next day I was going to someone's house and they called me and said, I had a change of heart. I don't want you to come. And something in their voice made me think, I'm just going to say, "Oh, you know what? I'm already around the corner. I'm already coming." And
Mhm.
not and they're like, "No, no, no, no." And I'm like, "No, I think I said I got to pee or something, I just made up some excuse or whatever." And I went to that person's house. And when we were inside, uh they were telling me that they were things weren't good. And so I said, "Can I tell you this story about this woman?" on the plane. And I take these cards out of my purse and I said, and I gave her a card and I give this to that person. And then I said, and then I gave that woman another card and gave that person the second card while I was sitting in their home with them. And they started crying and admitted to me that that night when they told first they wanted me to come because they wanted to tell me how they felt and wanted me to intervene, but then they changed their mind and decided that they wanted to carry out what they were going to carry out, and that person was going to take their life that night as well.
Wow,
Yeah,
Andrea.
quite
Powerful.
amazing. Yeah.
Powerful.
So
Yeah. We
yeah,
just never know, do we? We never know what people are going through
we
and what's
don't.
happening. But
Yeah,
this
and
is, yeah, this is a ministry. This is a way to help those. We don't have to know what they're going through, and that's, I'm
yeah,
very connected in with the angels, and I feel like you were led in both of those instances. You were divinely led to be exactly where you were
right.
because what you did saved lives.
Yeah, it was interesting. And the
Yeah,
week that we did the Keep Smiling launch for National Keep Smiling Week was the busiest that I've ever been. Okay, so I'm a
yeah,
publicist and I have my own clients. And then because I volunteer full time as the executive director, I took on the job of seeing as many authors. We have 114 of them now. How many of them I could at least get on one or two radio shows that week? I wanted to try to give almost everybody an opportunity, and I got through. I think I ended up doing like 75 or 80 of them had a radio show, plus my own clients that week. So it was
right.
really busy week, extremely
Yeah,
busy week. And that
yeah,
week became even more busy because with the launch, people found out that we were a mental health nonprofit. So people
yeah,
were reaching out, and I think in the course it was 7 people reach out during that week who found me and needed to talk to me. So they either were considering suicide or they had in the past and were feeling guilty and anxious about it
hmm,
and needed to confess to
yeah,
someone, or they were
hmm,
going through really difficult anxiety and depression about COVID and the results of unemployment and money issues and family and like not being there for someone else. And we were able to do that for those
yeah,
people that reached out. And it was during all of this that I realized, um, I knew all along that this movement was bigger than all of us. That
yes,
Yeah, and that's why I kind of always refer to it as our baby. This is our
Mhm.
baby that we're raising, but we need all of you. We need people
Yeah.
like you, Terry, to help us share our baby with the world, because this
Yeah.
infant, this toddler, is has really big shoes to feel,
Oh,
to feel and to fill.
both to feel and to feel, absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah, the power of a smile, it really is powerful. Andrea, I shared a story this morning. I have a morning show at 7:30 a.m. Although I'm not a morning
Nice.
person, I do get up and do it every morning.
That's amazing that you do
Uh,
that. I love it.
and I do it raw. I have no makeup on. I'm straight out of bed. I'm in my pajamas.
Look at you.
So I shared a story there, and I'd love to share it here since we're
Please.
going this way. I have a dear friend that shared with me that one day she ran into a classmate, and it had been years since they'd been in school together. And this man shared with her that she saved his life, and she saw him. He was just standing there. He was all alone, and she smiled at him and said, "Good morning." Actually saw him. And this is the thing. We can look at somebody and not see them, or we can really look at somebody and acknowledge them. And that was what she did. She said hello
Wow.
to him. She said, good morning or whatever. And he shared with her years later that he had decided to take his life that day because
Wow.
he felt like that cipher, like nobody saw him. I'm just a zero. No, nobody's even paying any attention. It wouldn't matter if I wasn't even here anymore.
Mm,
And because one person acknowledged him and smiled, that's what it took to turn him around. So
it's
the
amazing.
the power of a smile is is life saving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been such a beautiful thing, and
yeah.
the joy that comes with it, um in everyone's smile. And it's really interesting too, because one of my favorite pictures of someone smiling is a picture that I saw early on of Ken's when I started working with him. And it's a picture of a gentleman who is in some state of poverty, and it's
Hmm.
and it's in another country, a third world country, and it's in black and white photo, and the man is grinning all beat out, just this beautiful, beautiful smile. And it is my favorite. And I normally like color photographs and and all of that, but oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that man's smile is so full of joy
I
that
know
it
which
just.
one you're talking about. Yeah,
You
I've seen
too.
that picture. Yes,
Ah.
I've followed Ken's work for 4 years now. I have seen
Yeah.
so much of his photography and just the beautiful, amazing things that he's done with his camera work.
Yeah.
And I
It's
love
fun.
that picture. I know what you're referring to, and I love that picture. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's captured several friends of mine, and I love seeing that. Karen Palmer is a very dear friend of mine, and he has the best picture of her, and he took it when we were in Utah together.
Yeah, we
And
had so much fun in Utah. Do you remember the
I
butterflies?
know, oh
We had
yes, the
pictures. So
butterflies.
we pinned these
Yeah,
butterflies to people's clothing, and then Ken had us go, make
yeah,
pictures like that, like we were afraid of them.
yeah,
And it was so fun,
yeah.
and everybody laughed and got along so well.
I
And it really
know.
created great
Yeah.
camaraderie over those pins. Those are fun.
Yes, well, the butterfly lady is Tina Vallant. She's a friend of mine, but I have
Oh,
to tell you, we went across the country to meet each other.
really? I would love
Yeah,
to reconnect with her, because I tell the story of those butterflies all the time.
I'm seeing her Thursday. She's going to take she does my professional profile pictures for my social media. So Ken says, you need a picture with holding the card. And I'm like, all right, Ken.
Please, please.
so, so I'm going to tell her to get in touch with you.
Thank you. I would love
Yeah,
that. Yeah, we met so many fun people there. We got to participate in that circle. I got to go on stage with Marianne Williams at that event. And
I
so her and I were
know.
both speaking to well, it was funny. I got on
Hmm.
stage, and we were speaking to each other, and then we were speaking to the audience. And I was on stage with her for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then Ken, when he spoke, he got to hit the gong and do all of that.
Yes.
And one of
Yes.
my favorite pictures of Ken on stage is there. I took a picture of him speaking in black and white. Again, it was a black and white picture, and it is
Yeah.
one of the pictures that he uses the most of himself,
Yeah.
and that was really fun to do because I enjoy photography as well, and because he's a
Yeah.
photographer, I tend to make sure I take a lot of pictures of him because I know what it's like to be the behind the scenes. That there's often
Yeah.
not pictures of us because we're the ones who are taking them.
Right. Right. Andrea, let's tell people about the books, the Keep Smiling books,
Please.
because
So,
they may not know what we're referring to. So I would like
oh,
to
well, I didn't even think about
share with
that. So
them.
let's talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give, we'll start out with Emily Latran because she is the first person who said, I will do a book. So this is Emily's book. So these are the Keep Smiling Shift Happens series. And what we do is Ken came up with this idea because remember I said he was taking pictures of people all over the world.
Mhm.
Oh, this one's in black and white.
Yeah.
Let's show the inside of a color one. Um, so here's a color one here. Oh, let me see. Let me find some fun pictures of people. Here's some fun pictures of people, different people who get to get loved on today because they're in here in color. And
Oh.
this one is of the best marketers in the world. And so and so as you can tell that these are well loved. Look, I have the pages
Yes.
bent and everything. And oh, that's my oh, those are I love these people. So here's Grant Cardone for people who are internet marketers. And so as we travel all over the world, Ken and I, it started with just Ken, and then Ken asked me very early on to start taking pictures as well. And so he and I were the ones taking pictures of people holding the Keep Smiling
Yeah.
cards, and then Ken put them like-minded people in books together. So we had the best marketers in the world, the speakers book, the authors book, the celebrities book. And then what we started doing then is taking people's stories and having them write their stories. For some of them, for some of our celebrities, I interview them and then transcribe their stories to make it easier and simpler for them to say yes. And we have
Right.
them as co-authors. So let me pull out a co-authored book. So uh, oh, here's Manny just sent me a text today. So Manny Lopez,
Manny
um,
Lopez.
yeah,
Yeah.
he his is Hope Happens. So sometimes this title shifts
Oh,
depending on who it is. So even though
yeah.
the series is Shift Happens, we might change that depending on who they are. So for you, you could have a Gratitude Happens or Angels Happen, or
Angels happen.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
beautiful. And then it has our, smile, Mr. Smiley, and then usually the person that's a co-author, but it has their story in it. So if you open up these books, it says who they are, what they did, what caused them to find their smile, and who they are. So here's Manny's story here. Oh, there's another picture of me. And so then you get to see who Manny is and find out about why these things matter. And the
Yeah.
stories are a short condensed story, and it's answering kind of it's really four questions. From birth till now, who are you, and what led you to become who you are, and along the way, what challenges did you face that took away your smile, and how did you
Yeah.
overcome them to find your smile again, and what do you do now in the world, what created your why, your passion, that you now create smiles in the world through your products, services, or your message. And that's really what the books are about. And then they're
Yeah.
inspirational not only from the story, but under each person's picture. Let me grab another one. Under this is a movers and shakers. Under each person's name is we have who they are, and then we have a motivational quote. So the other
Awesome.
cool thing about these books is when you co-author one, you can either choose to have an event where a photographer comes, whether it's us, and now we've recruited other photographers besides Ken and I to help
Mhm.
move this faster along, and they can take pictures of people, so then it's your own peers, your own followers, your own vendors, whoever that you want in your tribe in your book. Or you can go through our Rolodex, and we have about 10,000 1,000 keep smiling pictures now, and you can pick out the people that you would love to have in your own book. So if you went through ours between Paula Fellingham's event and all the other spiritual events we've had, I'm sure, Terry, you would find 99 people that you already know that you could have in your book. And then what we do is we show people how to create community with these. So I came up with the acronym SMILES. So we create SMILES, a society merging international leaders and entrepreneurs for social responsibility.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's
I love it.
like-minded people who come
Mhm.
together to serve
Yeah.
others. And
Yeah.
and so when you have a book, especially with people you don't know and you pick them, what an honor to, I mean, imagine,
Yeah.
Terry, all of a sudden you're honored. Somebody calls you and say or writes you an email or a letter and says, especially a letter, how cool is that? And says,
Yes.
"Hey, I wanted to let you know I put you in my Keep Smiling book because of blah blah blah, whatever reason, because of your
Mhm.
gratitude, because of the way you love people in the world and so forth." And then here's some different
Yeah.
themes. Like we have A Harmony Happens. This is a musical one. And then this one was done for a gentleman named Michael Tabrizi who has a banquet hall and he helps feed the homeless as well. And his is about all the people who put on events. So it's full of photographers and wedding planners, event planners, caterers. Just what a cool fun DJs, photographers. So it's a really
Yeah.
fun way to create community, and we have them for cities now, besides the genres, and it's really exciting to us because there's so many people now that are connecting, all
Mhm.
because of these books, and it's quite exciting. And I'm very proud of Ken
Yeah.
for coming up with that idea and
I am
being,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's so persistent and consistent with it too. Every
Yeah.
day, almost every day. I guess it's almost every day because it's been 4 years and we have 112 authors. So it's not every day, but it's a lot of days that he calls and he has a new idea for a book. And right now we're
Yes.
doing one on the top podcasters in the world. And what I'm glad to hear is that he got excited and said, "Oh, well, wait a minute. It's more than podcasters because then there's radio interviews or hosts. Those are different, considered different genres of, reach out." So we'll be doing probably splitting those up so that we're doing podcasts and radio shows and whatever, as Zoom lives or, Facebook lives. It'll be fun.
Yeah. It will be fun. And he told me last night that I'm going to be in that book.
You are. So I
I
wasn't sure if
know.
I
I was
wasn't sure
like,
if he told you yet. I did watch the program
yeah.
last night, but I didn't catch if he told you yet you were going to be in it or teased you
Yeah.
about it. So I didn't want to give it away. I wanted to let him be the
Well,
one to surprise you.
he told me that me and Oprah are in the book.
Well, he is very anxious. Anxious is not right. It's eager. He's very eager for us to show this love with Oprah and Ellen,
Yeah.
and we actually were pushing towards that quite heavily when COVID hit. So no one was
Yeah.
recording anymore. So that opportunity kind of flew
Right.
out for the time being. But that's something we're still after. So any of you have
Yeah.
ends with anyone who's a celebrity, you yourself are a celebrity, you yourself are a celebrity in your own home, in your own world, in your own local community, uh,
Yeah.
reach out to us because we're all about inclusion and including everyone with love and acceptance through smiles. It's the universal
Absolutely.
expression of that.
It
Yeah.
sure is. He also shared with me last night that there is a new book that his son did.
Yes, it's cracking up. I think it's Amazing Jokes cracking up with Kenny or but it's Crack Ken, and I love it. It was fun because ironically I started doing these little videos that I have been recording to put them on TikTok of me telling jokes, and so I started compiling a joke book when he reached out to me and said, "I'm doing a joke book with my son." Totally cracked me up. So then we were able to share some different jokes back and forth. And for them to
Yeah.
co-author that book together, how fun is that? I love it. I love it. I love it.
For people who do not know, Kenny is 6 years old.
He'll be 7 on June 14th on Flag Day.
Oh, birthday coming up.
birthday
But
coming up.
how amazing to have a book at that age that you're a co-author of. And he is so darling. He had to tell us some jokes last night on the show.
Yes, my favorite one is the Thinkosaurus.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
that one
yes.
is my. Oh, do you think he saw us? Do you think he saw us?
Do you think he saw us? Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who are wondering, it's well, you might get to see it next week, so I shouldn't give it away. So I should just leave a teaser and tell you if you want to see somebody super cute tell this joke, you should come back on for gratitude next Tuesday when Ken's on for gratitude happy hour for a
Yeah.
different set of audience because all of your different
Right.
programming, you attract different people for your audiences.
Yes.
I wanted to share something with you because you talked about children writing books. So this book right there when my youngest daughter, when she was 11, she wrote this book. And you can see I have stacks of books behind me. I also own a publishing company, so books come and go all the time. My daughter was 11, and she wanted to go with me to a conference. Here she is when she was 11. You can see her there as
Oh
well.
yeah.
And she said, I want to go with you to this conference, mom. And I said, well, I taught my kids about business and to be entrepreneurs really early. And I said, I'm happy to have you go, but it needs to have a reason. I mean, you need to have a tax write-off for this. You need to make it a business. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, what do you
Yeah.
mean? And I said, well, you either need to have a business or you need to write a book. And so she pondered on it and she said, well, I like to read, so I think I'd rather write a book. And I said, okay. And she said, well, what should I write it on? And I said, well, I think you should write it on what you know. And she's like, okay. And then she goes, well, I know how to get good grades. And I said, yeah. And she says, and I know how to get good friends. And I'm like, yeah. And then she said, ooh, and I know how to get you and dad to say yes to almost everything.
Oh boy.
So, well, because I taught my kids really early on how to act
Yeah.
and behave to get what you want so that you can manifest your life the way you want to. So I said, sounds like you got your title. So her book was called The 27 Preteen Tips to Get Good Grades, Get Good Friends, and Get Your Parents to Say Yes to Almost Everything.
Wow.
So then it's just
How
pictures of her
amazing.
doing fun things that she convinced us that we should do. Here we are at a
Right.
pinball tournament, and she this little girl is now 21.
Awesome. Does she still write?
She does still write, and she's going to college to be a teacher and a reading teacher and a math teacher, which is interesting. A math and
Yeah.
reading teacher, definitely using both sides of the brain. So quite fun.
Yeah.
So it definitely pays to teach your children early about business and how to write. And she wrote a lot of other novels when she was a kid as well, but she never would let me
Yeah.
publish them. She said they were hers.
Oh. You know, you just clicked something in my memory, and I don't even know where this was from, but it was like the three R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic, right?
Arithmetic, yeah, yeah, it was always so funny, wasn't that we grew up with that? And
We
you know
grew
what?
up with that.
Yeah, and I want to bring this up because something just caught my eye behind me, and I just found this picture and have it out. So let me share it. So this picture is of a little girl that passed away. Oh, there's something on the picture. This little girl passed away when she was 11 years old. I
Mhm.
babysat her and she stayed with me all the time. Her name is Harmony Hindle. And so when we talk about angels, this one's mine. I feel her presence all the time and
Mhm.
it'll be interesting. I'll think of her, and all of a sudden I'm singing "Push It Real Good." Dun, 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 dun. 'Cause that was her
Yeah.
favorite song, and it is
Oh.
really funny because when you have angels in your life and people that you know,
Mhm.
that they give you signs and information to let you know that they're thinking of them. And
They
I was
sure do.
there. She had a brain tumor, and I was there when we took her off of life support. And then I
Yeah.
cared for her brothers after the fact because she had a twin and a brother that was a year older. But yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean, so as you're thinking about, who you are and how your life is, when we talk about the keep smiling movement and talk about smiles, part of these books is your condensed story in them is a way for you to leave a legacy.
Mhm. It is.
Yes, I mean, you can write
Yeah.
a bigger book, and we certainly encourage that, and we certainly can help you with that. Between Ken and I, we can help you write a bigger book that is a memoir or a book of business, or facts, or a children's book. There are several different models that we can help you with, but the one thing that we want to make sure is that nobody dies with at least their one legacy piece of why they
Yeah.
were passionate about what they were. And that comes from Ken's mom dying. That was the biggest piece, and he'll
Mm.
share that story himself. But it's interesting because I'm empathic as well. I've told Terry about that, and I've actually had Ken's mom come through and talk to me, and I've
Yeah.
actually written through her. I wrote a poem to Ken that she wrote. It's signed her name. I did, and it was funny because when I showed the poem to my mom said, "That is so not your writing."
Awesome.
It's quite
Automatic writing.
interesting.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
And
been really beautiful.
yeah, yeah. I can't remember who said it, but I know that it's a saying from somebody. But it's like, don't die with the music inside of you,
Yes,
because we all
please.
have a song. We all have a song to sing. We all have a story to tell. So absolutely write it down or tell somebody. Become a storyteller. I love
Yes.
storytellers, and I really enjoyed the stories that you shared with us today. It's all so personal and so interesting, and we can see as you tell the stories, we can see that person and see their life, that how you interacted in their life, and I really appreciate that, because
Yeah.
we all have stories, don't we? We all have stories.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I didn't tell you guys my story. I can tell you part of it, I guess, now, and maybe we can uh, recap it later on when we Ken and I are going to come on later in
Yeah.
the month together.
Well,
And
you're gonna be on my
oh, Angel Show too. Yeah.
Angel Heart Radio next Monday.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
but I'd love to
it
hear your story.
so I grew up an only child and a very lonely child. And um, the TV was more important than me, and at least that was my perception.
Hmm.
And I grew up in what I believed was a household that I was told to shut up, and I felt like I was unimportant. So I found my solace in books. So hence why there's books all over the place, is
Yeah.
books were my friends, because we
Hmm.
didn't live where other kids were, and I was alone all the time and hated
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
wanted to have interactions with other people. And growing up, it was really challenging for me. I also own a relationship business as well, both personal and professional. And I had to learn how to be in relationships and how to be a good friend and be there for people, because and to be able to respond to them, because I didn't know that. I didn't have that when I was little. When we were around other people, I was usually around adults my parents' age, because my mom and dad ran, and so we've been at running races, and so I didn't know how to connect to people. So it's ironic that my business is the red carpet connection, and it's all
Yes.
about how do you connect to people, and the other one's called Ignite Your Relationships. So how do you connect to people and build those relationships with people at really
Yeah.
deep levels? So my clients now are I how you'll hear in business that, oh, you need to have these boundaries, your clients aren't your friends, you don't I'm sorry, that's not my rule. I love my
Right.
clients.
Oh,
I
me
tell them I
too.
love them every
Yeah.
time. So Terry,
Yeah.
good. So Terry says good. So now every time I talk to you on the phone, I'm going to end it with "I love you," because I adore you. I loved Terry's been
Thank
so kind
you.
to Ken and I ever since we met her. She's just an amazing person, and we want
Oh,
to make
thank
sure to
you.
tell her that we am proud of her and impressed with what she's doing in the world, and love
Thank
that she
you.
brings these stories out of us and allows us to be authentic and real from our hearts. It's quite
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
absolutely. I have to share with you. Maybe sometime you can pop into our morning show. It's
I would love
Facebook
it.
Live, and we end every show in the morning with "I love you." We send a heart. One of our people in the group calls it a heart telephone. Oh, look at you! So we
Yeah,
do.
I was the Heart of Gold winner, so I won an award on the Internet Marketers Cruise. That's why my book has a heart on it. Oh, this is my beat up copy, but you can see how worn this one is. But I won the Heart of Gold. So Ken surprised me, made my book red, and put me in a Heart of Gold.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So you
So
were
what
saying,
yeah, what we do is we start with envisioning one person in the virtual world in our circle, and we say I love you to that person out loud.
nice.
And then it goes around just like the telephone call. It'll go around the circle and come back to us, and we receive it. So we give, we receive, and then we share it with each other. We just say out loud to everybody, "I love you," and
I
that's how
so
we
love
end
you.
every show that we do in the morning with the "I
Oh,
love
I
you."
love that because that
Yeah,
makes people feel so good and so wonderful. And so many
yeah,
people don't have that, Terry. When
I
I taught
know.
college,
Yeah.
this was college, by the way. So I had non-traditional students, everybody from like, I think my youngest student was 15 or
Hmm.
16 to I think my oldest student was 74. And when they came into the classroom, I greeted every single one of my students when they walked in the room. And mind you, I taught full time all these classes, 30, sometimes 30 students a class, and they either could do one of these, bump an elbow, hug me, shake my hand, and if they were completely a non-toucher, then they could do or they could do a high five, or they could do a wave. A really close one though. They had to come
Yeah.
like this, but not touch. I wanted them to feel the vibration of our skin.
Right. Yeah.
And my students, I got so much feedback on that my students loved me because of that.
Hmm.
So those of you who are listening to this,
Yeah.
if you could incorporate that with the people in your life and with your kids and
Yes.
with your family, there's actually an adage, a song that goes, 4 hugs a day, that's the minimum. 4 hugs a day, not the maximum. And I actually have done
Love that.
research now, and it actually is that people actually thrive at four hugs is a minimum, but people
Hmm.
do okay at 8 and they thrive at 12. So I'm like, if they thrive at 12, what's wrong with 20?
Oh yeah, exactly. The more the better is what I say.
Yeah. So right now,
Yeah.
I've been doing great during COVID. I stayed very positive and
Good.
did a lot of this. So I was
Yeah.
connecting with people, but touching people,
Mhm.
hugging them, shaking their hand, sitting
Yeah.
with them, having my arm around them. I'm a very touchy-feely person, and not
Yeah.
having other people to do that, including strangers, is
Yeah.
I miss that.
I do
So
too. I do too. That's been the hardest part is not being able to touch and to have
yeah,
that personal sharing of love with each other. Yeah, it's
yeah,
important. It's so important.
amazing.
Ah, Andrea, you are wonderful.
Thank you.
This hour flew by. I have just loved every minute of it. And I'm so happy that we're doing what we're doing with having you and Ken on and then having you on next week and him on this show. You all in the audience, you are in for a treat because there is so much more. They got a dose of Ken last night and then you today and then wait till you see them together.
Well, by the time we do the together, we'll probably be slap happy fun because Ken and I
I
both love to
know.
laugh. And I
Yes.
think on the show last night and today we've been a little bit more really soul centered, heart centered. So we've been a little more
Yeah.
depth. Both of us,
Yeah.
tend to joke and laugh, and Ken can be extremely playful and fun. And
Yes.
then in the future, later on, Barry Shore, our other co-founder, and Crystal Richardson, our COO, will be invited to come on and speak with you as well. And they all, and the cool thing is everybody does their own thing. So like my own business, I do the publicity with the red carpet connection, which by the way, red. You guys might want. I don't know. I have a pen in my hand. Apparently, I needed a prop for the show. I wear red because it stands for relevance, enthusiasm, and delivery. And when you do all three, you hit your target market every time. And
Well, I did another acronym for RED for you.
please.
It's Real Energetic Dynamo. Because
I
that's
accept
you,
that.
lady. I love it. So
Thank
tell
you
us a
for
little
that.
bit about how people can reach you if they want to find out more about the Red Carpet Connection
Oh, I
and the
can
other
I can give you
that you
guys a
do.
free gift. I'll give you free I like to give out stuff. So
Oh,
if
yay.
you go to
Yay.
www.theredcarpet connection.com/free gift. You can have access to a 7-day publicity challenge. It's the Living Red publicity challenge. And every day there's a new module. It gives you a highlight of some things that you need to know to be able to shine in your life and your business. And you don't have to be a business owner. If you work for someone else, it shows you how you can help your company by using those tools. And if neither one strike your fancy, you can use those same publicity skills on yourself so that you show up and attract better friends, maybe a better mate into your world, because it's all about how you show up in the world and how you present yourself. And so you can cross reference some of those tools different ways for yourself. And for the Keep Smiling movement, we're all about giving back there. If you go to www.thekeepsmilingmovement.com, you can ask us there on the front page. It says free gift, free ebook. So you click that and you send us an email and you tell us, what books you want or which ones you've seen, or like let me know what kind of genre that you're interested. If like you're an author, a speaker, a veteran, law enforcement, and whatever, because we're working on books on all of those genres and all of those fields. By the way, Terry, you may not know this. We have partnered with over 20, I think 25 now, nonprofits, because we know that ourselves, we can't, we want to serve everyone, but it's a partnership between and collaboration with others. So there's 25 other organizations that their leader has done a book with us, invisibledisabilities.org, Precious Kids Foundation, all these wonderful places that we're helping give love to so that we can create advocacy and awareness for what they do, because they also need to be loved on and create smiles,
Yes.
and they do through their products and services. So we want to create that
Awesome.
for everyone.
How awesome. I just have one question. Okay, so the redcarpetconnection.com / is free gift altogether.
Free
Those
gift.
two
Yep.
words, those two
Yep.
words all together, free gift.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
there you go,
Yeah.
people. You heard it here. And if you're watching, go get your free gift. I
And
love
then you
this.
can always ask for Keep Smiling cards. Oh, and
Yeah.
join us. Join us at the Keep Smiling Ambassadors on Facebook. And
Yes.
actually, Terry, we are on a mission. Ken and I would like to get 10,000 in the group. We're now, I think,
Yes.
currently just under 2,500. And because
Hmm.
Ken and I invite so many people, we keep getting put in Facebook jail. We need you.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
all of you. So if all of you could join the Facebook ambassadors page and invite 2 or 3 of your friends, people that you think that would feel happy and loved by a smile. And if you're super zealous like us, if you invite 50 a day, you don't get put in jail.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends in there now because I just kept bringing them in. I'm like, come on, come on,
Yeah,
come
I love it.
on.
I get to go to the place with all my friends, and then they